didn't know about.
Yeah, it was me, Castro, Dexter. I forgot who else was in the Humvee. There was like two other people in the Humvee, but we got hit at the same time. And okay, so we're live right now. Um, and it's funny because when we got hit, Foray and well, everybody in the 7 ton, they thought we were dead. Foray told me that he was like that. He was hugging him and Reed were hugging each other because they thought they were crying because they thought that we were dead.
Damn.
It was in front of the um, Snake Pit base, but
Okay.
nothing happened, man. Just some rocks scraped my face, and then that was basically it.
Yeah. The vehicle I was in, from what I had heard the day prior, had gotten its upper armored windshield installed, which is what saved whoever was the A driver for that vehicle. They were bodily tossed onto the driver and had, I think, some scrapes and some, like a minor concussion or something as far as that goes, along with the driver having the same. But other than that, that upper armored windshield is what saved them. And then uh, Lee kept shoving everybody away, telling me he was fine because he had two small wounds on the back of his neck. Unfortunately, lost him. The wounds on the back of his neck, the shrapnel went in and actually nicked both carotids, but it was just a nick, and nobody realized he had so much internal bleeding until um, I think he passed on the medevac helicopter from um, Ramadi to Baghdad. He actually passed mid-flight.
Damn. His father sent me a present that I used to have in my car. So tonight is about PTSD and whatnot. So that should be an interesting conversation. That should be a very interesting conversation.
Yes, yes, there are, and I actually brought it up because, or am I don't know, excited about talking about this as far as it goes, or not excited. I don't know. Looking forward to the conversation. There are multiple forms of PTSD, and there's a few that some people either don't know about or um, haven't heard about, find it hard to recognize as far as it goes and stuff. We can get into that here in a few.
Hell yeah. Well, let's get into it. We got 6 viewers right now. We have Lance, we have Michael Glantz, and I think other people are viewing on YouTube as well. So I'll let you lead, man, because I got hit that day, but thank God I didn't lose anything. And I think it's because, you know, who knows where my mind would have been if I had lost something. So I'll let you lead the conversation, man. And then anyone that's on the string, I'm going to go ahead and paste our invite link in the comments so that you guys can call in and talk about what PTSD is to you and how you manage it. So yeah,
Yeah.
Jimmy, go ahead.
So everybody hears the term PTSD or PTS, or for one reason or another, at one point they wanted to drop the D off the end of it, um, saying that it's not a disorder. I would tend to disagree, but then again, my entire from the day I was hit moving forward, everybody always called it PTSD, and I don't know. That's just, I guess, what stuck. But PTSD is basically uh, mentally struggling with traumatic events as far as it goes. Whether it's things you've seen in combat, things you've done in combat, um, both. Uh, seeing friends and family, or friends that you consider family, being injured and hurt or killed, and there's people that struggle with, yeah, they joined the military, they thought they knew what they was getting into as far as it goes, but then you get in combat, and the act of, whether it's in self-defense in a combat situation, defense of another, um, fighting terrorism, whatever you want to call it. The act of taking another human life can be very traumatizing. It's not something most people look forward to doing. Um, and that can mess with you mentally. The like I say, all the different things that we've seen over there between friends being injured and um, after firefight, people that were inadvertently injured, on the civilian side, civilians, whether it be in Iraq or Afghanistan or whatever, as far as it goes, being injured from uh, stray fire, whatever the case may be. I mean, we as Marines, of course, didn't have stray fire because, we're marksmen, but, it's, I mean, a lot of it can be traumatizing and rough to deal with. And, yes, everybody deals with it in different ways. There's a lot of people that, um, like me, I I don't remember dreams. But if Beth wasn't feeling bad, she would tell you that she knows that I still have bad dreams or nightmares or whatever as far as it goes because of the mumbling and grumbling and talking and tossing and turning in my sleep. It's not as bad as it used to be. I guess there for a while, there's times it looked like I was in a fist fight. Um, and uh, yeah, but I don't ever remember it when I wake up. I guess as far as it goes. And during the day, people are like, "Well, how do you deal with this, that, and the other?" And I kind of don't have a true response, or know how to vocalize it, except for to say that I just deal. I don't mean to sound nonchalant or whatever as far as it goes and say that it is what it is. If I was to say something like that, it's because I have a tendency in many situations, and this isn't always the best thing, but I have a tendency to over compartmentalize. I can be in the middle of a high stress situation and look like I'm just emotionless, or the only emotion I have is annoyance, verging on anger, as far as it goes. And because that's what I'm feeling at the moment is annoyance. Okay, now I've got to deal with this. Now I've got to deal with that, whatever. But then I can go back to laughing and joking and carrying on. And people are like, "How do you do that?" And it's like you learn to. One of the things that the military, not just the Marine Corps, but the military in general, will teach you is how to compartmentalize stuff. Sometimes they don't teach you how to go back into those compartments and deal with what you actually need to deal with, but you compartmentalize it and carry the fuck on. And there's other forms of PTSD that, like for me, not looking for sympathy, but just being factual. I grew up in an abusive household. My ex stepdad was, I've been put through more drywall than I care to think of. I've been living on my own since I was 15. I've had the back of my head punch a hole in the drywall and crack the stud in the wall. I've gone through one set of drywall in between the studs and then through another set of drywall and landed from the kitchen into the pantry. At 13 years old. I was abused as a kid. Like I said, I'm not looking for sympathy, but it's just a fact. And that is a form of, dealing with that is a form of PTSD in and of itself. It made me scared shitless to have kids. And if you look at statistics, those that are abused become the abusers. So when you've got like past PTSD or childhood traumas and stuff, and then you go with the normal, quote unquote, normal form of PTSD that you get from being in a combat situation in a combat zone, and that type of trauma. The two of them combined are what they call CPTSD, um, compounded PTSD, basically. So you have multiple forms of or PTSD from multiple situations or traumas in your life, and
basically hurt on top of hurt.
exactly, and that can be highly difficult to deal with. Yeah, and growing up the way I did, when I did, and where I did, whatever the case may be, I think that started my compartmentalization early on in life. Because when you went to school, you didn't talk about it.
Like way back in the 1900s.
Right, exactly. Because I'm old as fucking dirt.
So
But
I
so I
did.
mean, go ahead.
I'm sorry. No, I did a stint in the psych ward back in 2015, and a few ways that the psychiatrist and all that was over it was explaining things to me was one of them, everybody worries about things. Is this going to happen? Is that going to happen? Most people worry about something. The odds are highly against it ever happening. Somebody with PTSD is remembering when it did happen. So not as it is to them, it's not a 1 in a million chance that'll probably never happen. It has truly happened. They've seen it happen before. They know it can happen. And I also had one time they were explaining, most people have the fight or flight response, and now it's fight, flight, or freeze. And psychiatrist was explaining to me at one time that basically the way mine works is nothing existed anymore except just the fight. The
Yeah,
rest had gotten blurred out to where fight was all that my body knew to do anymore.
yeah. Um, I like he added that fight, flight, or freeze as far as it goes. A lot of people
Yes.
haven't heard that version of it, and especially for those suffering from PTSD, that is unfortunately an option. You
It
freeze,
it,
and
it really is.
you something triggers you or whatever as far as it goes, and you just freeze up. You can't move, you can't talk, you can't really even think as far as it goes
Right.
because you're seeing whatever it is that triggered. I hate that word, but whatever it
Yeah.
is that triggered um, the event, so to speak,
Right.
and your past traumas, and they kind of or merge together as
Yeah.
far as it goes, and you just freeze. Um,
And I was
Thankfully,
when
I can say that I haven't had it happen to me, but
right.
I know that I know people that it has happened to, and it's not a pleasant experience.
I believe that I don't think it's personally happened to me yet either. That that don't mean that it won't happen tomorrow, but
Exactly.
it is what it is. And I was, when you were explaining about the dreams and sleeping and all, uh, uh, there were a few months between when I went to the psych ward and then I actually did an inpatient PTSD course at the Memphis VA. And for that little bit of time, they had put me on different medicines that are supposed to help you sleep, and then some that are supposed to help you basically not dream. And I thought everything was doing okay, but every morning when I was in that course, they'd take your vitals first thing in the morning.
Hmm.
And every morning when they took my vitals, my heart rate was extremely elevated, my blood pressure was insanely high, but if they'd wait till 30 minutes later, everything was perfect. So I was dreaming, my body could feel whatever I was dreaming, but I didn't ever remember any of it.
Yeah,
So
I'm
that
wondering. I'm personally wondering, as being someone who never remembers dreams, or within 2 to 3 minutes of waking up, if I
right,
remember any portion of it after about 3 minutes, I can't even remember what I remembered in that first 3 minutes of
right.
waking up as far as it goes. So I'm almost curious to ask someone that has, or I guess it would be a question for the docs as far as it goes. If there's medications that make it to where you don't dream, if someone who doesn't dream already was to
Well,
take that, would it work in reverse and make you remember your dreams?
I'd say that that's always a potential, especially if you have redheads in your family. Uh, it's just weird thing. Medication quite often works exactly opposite for redheads as it does for everybody else in the world.
Oh, but darn, didn't know that one.
Yeah, the like anesthesia, for true, ginger redheads, it's extremely hard to put them down because their body resists the anesthesia that hard.
No, but darn.
Yeah,
What's up,
uh,
Lanny?
Not much. Not much at all.
that's my twin brother there.
1 second before we get into talk with you, Lanny. Oh, there's Michael Glenn. I was just getting ready to read your comments, but
All
now
right.
that you're on the show, we can just talk.
Right.
How you guys doing?
I'm doing fine. Doing fine.
Doing
I
good.
just happened to be doing my normal duties on Facebook, scrolling and seeing something live, so I had to jump on it.
Oh yeah. Well, I might have to get you to move that camera up. You're going to give me a complex if I'm looking up at you like this. It's going to make me feel like I'm doing something naughty.
Well, let me leave it down there then.
Oh, so glad y'all are joining the show. As you can tell, our subject of the night is PTSD and its various forms. A lot of veterans suffer from PTSD just from their personal trauma, whether it be in wartime or combat situations, either firefights, losing friends, seeing friends get injured. There is PTSD, obviously, from along with that is known as survivor's guilt, and then there's that compounded on top of the unfortunate inaccurate number of 22 a day and the PTSD that can bring on.
MST actually should fall under PTSD, but is a very specific subcategory, so it does deserve its own title.
So, you guys got any comments?
I wanted to hop in because I was never in combat. I was a Navy journalist, and my ship deployed at the start of the Iraq War. We took the Marines that marched into Baghdad, and then we came home with a group of Marines that the vehicle in front of them would blow up, or like they'd watch like a little Iraqi girl die on the battlefield or some shit like that. And as a journalist, talking to everybody and taking all that on, like I got really messed up, and I didn't know even that it was PTSD because I wasn't in combat. I wasn't technically in danger. And when I started to put everything together, right, like for the longest time, I felt like embarrassed that, well, I didn't see combat. I wasn't, on the front lines. Like this shouldn't have happened to me.
Do you know what the name of that is?
Mm-mm.
So it's one that I was going to bring up here in a little bit, and I'll circle back to a little bit. But that's called PTSD by proxy.
Okay.
As far as it goes, that's almost exactly what it is.
And for that and for some other stuff, I'm actually 100% disabled because of it.
Yeah, I'll circle back to where I learned about PTSD by proxy myself.
Cool.
Here in just a little bit. But that is a true thing as far as it goes, because especially when you're hearing about these events that happened, one, so often, and two, in probably as vivid of detail as was being described to you, it gets stuck in your mind, and basically you can't
Knowing
get
the fact that even so, you wasn't in the battle, but you was pretty much attached to the battle because you were there with the individuals that went in, and you seen them go in. You knew what they were going in to do, but it's a thought process. But your will, your brain says, okay, it wants you to get that mindset of like, shit, what are they going through? You're trying to picture it, and then because you're so close to them, and you hear these stories from them and all that stuff, and you actually see some of the, the casualties coming in, whatnot. You're taking, like you said, you're taking in the effects.
Yeah. And in the Navy, I don't think like nobody on my ship was
Michael,
prepared to help us through that. Like,
let me pause you there for 1 second. Just Ben asked if for any of the viewers that are watching this, as far as it goes right now, if you're not on the show here with us, if you're watching it and just saying in the comments, that's great. I'd love to see in the comments. We'll get to reading some of them here in just a little bit. But if we could get everybody that is watching to highlight in the comments to broadcast this more, this is obviously a discussion that would probably benefit a lot of veterans and or first responders. And we would love for them to be able to see this and or join us on the show, talk to us, let us know your thoughts and feelings on the subject. Sorry about that. Go ahead, Mike.
yeah, no, I don't know what it's like for the Army and Marines. I assume that you guys have people in your chain of command that can help you like after the battle, like figure all that stuff out. I don't know, but in the Navy, it was like you don't talk about shit. Like you don't even say you're scared of anything. You don't say, "Hey, I don't understand this. I don't know why we're here." Nothing. And so I was like, felt like I was all alone on my ship. I didn't have anybody I could turn to or talk to or anything. And then when I came home and I knew like something was wrong, like I didn't know it was something I could get help for. I thought like I was weak and like I had to hide that part of myself and especially around other veterans for a long time. I felt embarrassed. I felt ashamed. I felt like if I was stronger than, or if I was braver, this never would have happened to me. Like there was so much confusion in my own mind around even like, how do I get help for this? And who can I talk to?
So now you were saying as far so I was on both sides. I served, of course, in the Marine Corps, and then finished up in the Army. Now, as far as the Army, I can say that yes, they're not embedded with you, but like say for instance, if you go out on a mission and you end up, you just get the shit slammed on you, whatever, and they have a team that's actually like on standby at one of the major bases that will go to whichever wherever the base is that you're located at. Say for instance, you just at a base where there's a lot of casualties and whatever. You've seen so much. Well, they come there and they sit there, they talk to you. They pretty much it's almost like a coping time. They give you a little time, and if they feel that you need more help, of course, yeah, they'll take you and they'll move you somewhere else. And then as far as like when you get back stateside, back from downrange, they have it's what's called a reverse process. So everything that you did going there, you're doing in reverse. So you're going. People are like, we know the first week or so we got so many classes that we got to go through because they want us to, get all this, this help or whatever, help if we need it. That you're able to see your not your parents, I'm about to say your parents, your family, but before you go to them with all the problems, they want to try and vent them out. Get you to help. Try and get you to understand that hey, you're not downrange anymore. Whatnot. Because my second deployment in the Army, like I came back and my wife was like, from the time that I left and I came back, she said, she still says, she said, I'm a whole different person. And now that I was sitting here thinking about it, I was like, well, she should have seen me before I deployed in the Marine Corps. She probably like, oh yeah, you're a completely different person, like times two, because your first initial one was the Marine Corps when you definitely seen a lot of shit, and now you're in the Army, you get you see more stuff, and yeah, she told me it's like, yeah, you're not the same.
Yeah.
And she was Army herself.
Yep. It's the unseen monster as far as that goes. I just had someone send me a message here saying that basically what has been recognized or whatever as far as it goes is 5 types of PTSD and stress disorder There's normal stress response, acute stress response, uncomplicated PTSD, complex PTSD, and something called comorbid PTSD. I guess the comorbid would probably be similar to
That's comorbid. It'd be the spouse of somebody that passed.
There you go.
Or a close friend, somebody that was real close to them.
Yeah, and I mean it's all valid as far as it goes. When I got hit in 2004, I medically retired in November of 2006, and I know Michael, kind of like what he was talking about as far as it goes. One, while we were in Ramadi, like you said, nobody talked about it as far as it goes. You didn't talk about if you were scared or.
I can even mention that there was times in Ramadi when we went out on patrol, and this was when we had Jason Murray and all them, and we got hit by that IED that was buried, and we lost our engineer, and they brought us back to post, of course. So we didn't have to continue on mission, but the mission they pretty much just paused it. This was before they started recognizing all this stuff. The symptoms, all this stuff. PTSD. There's like I think it was even Espinoza. He was my shotgun. He was even. They were even like, what kind of mess is this? We just got hit yesterday by an IED. Went out on patrol, and you know what happened? You got hit by another freaking IED. We're like, you can't win for losing here. It's like we really during that time didn't know how to. Luckily on that one we didn't have no big major casualties like on the other one, but we really didn't have no true coping mechanisms because it was something new.
Yeah, it seemed to be. Yeah, of course, I didn't get there till later in that deployment, and it was there for the 06 one as well, and seemed pretty much be, well, the mission does not stop. You can mourn about that when you get home if you need to, but there's not time to do it right now.
Yeah, that's pretty much what the message was. I mean, seriously, because we got a little rest, and I don't even think it was 24 hours. We were back out on patrol.
So for the whole time that y'all are deployed, you just have to suck it up.
Pretty
basically,
much.
And
like
they said, suck it up, Buttercup.
When I was there, that's exactly what and I will take ownership of being that guy, as far as it goes, as a section leader and a brief period as platoon sergeant, due to injuries and whatnot. I being the senior sergeant, I got bumped up for a short bit. Yeah, I was that guy. Hey, look, I get it, but suck it the fuck up. We've got a mission.
And there was not much complaining because you're dealing with Marines, and Marines, they're the motto and ego they got is, we're pretty much we're hard headed, we're freaking we're tough, we're go getters. Whatever it takes, we're going to get it done. Like the old saying, "What's one mind is any weapon." So anything to get the job done.
I had people ask me, when I was at Walter Reed, recovering and stuff. People be like, "I hope you don't mind me asking, but what's it like being in combat? Were you scared?" And they'd look at me funny when I gave them two answers. One, as far as what's it like being in combat, and just to kind of explain a little bit of, I won't even say necessarily the Marine Corps mindset. I would just say the infantry mindset or combat arms mindset, because a lot of the guys in the Army said the same thing. Honestly, and people still look at me funny when I say it this way, going to combat was gratifying. And people are like, "What?" Well, being in the infantry, the only time you actually do your job
Yes.
is in
Was
combat.
in combat.
Yeah. Okay.
Everything
Everything else is
training.
training,
So
refining,
it'd
or
be like going to college to be a mathematician or accountant or something like that, and then working at fucking 7-Eleven.
Yeah.
You don't actually do your job until that one customer comes up and says, "Hey, can you help me do my taxes?" or something, and then you actually might use part of your training. So going to combat in that manner, yes, it was gratifying. I actually got to do my job.
Yeah, I heard it somewhere.
Now, was I scared because of compartmentalization, adrenaline, being worried about my Marines, whatever the case may be? In the moment, during the firefight, during the IED goes off and you're whatever as far as it goes. In the moment, was I scared? No. And that's not me being macho. It's just I didn't have time as far as it goes. Your training kicks in, you react, and you carry out the mission. And then
that's like with the earplug thing.
You recover, and then okay, it wraps up. You finally make it back to base. It's okay. Get chow, get resupply of ammo, get your guys cleaned up and everything as far as that goes, and then get them to bed, do your after action reports, turn in this, that, and the other, and then you finally get a chance to, okay, well, it's midnight, and I got to get up at 4 for 4:30 patrol that we got to step back out on. So when you lay down in bed for that, finally, and you're finally able to just lay down and try to get a couple hours of sleep, it was then that you get that, oh shit, did I really just go through all that today?
Right.
And that's when the fear hits. But being, again, I don't want to go all supermoto or whatever, but trying to be a good Marine, you get up the next day and you go back out and you do it again. Why? Not because you're super brave, not because you're Mr. Macho or you're trying to be a hero, or even for some, it's not even necessarily the Superman complex that most of us have at a young age. It's I've got to go out because I've got to protect Lanny. I've got to protect Michael. I've got to protect Lance. I'm going out not for me, not for the mission, not for the global war on terrorism. You're going out for the guys that you're serving with, because you've got to watch their back. And that's always been my response, and it's true. It's in the moment, and even when you're out there before something kicks off, when you're out on patrol, even at that point, there's a bit of adrenaline going through you because something could happen. So you're hyper vigilant and concentrating on the mission at hand, which is finishing the patrol, doing the mission, watching out for your guys, watching your sectors of fire, whatever the case may be. And again, not until you get back to base and are able to relax after taking care of everything you need to take care of, that you sorry, I was squirreled there. That you realize,
where to go?
Bets quit walking around naked in front of you.
It's like, oh shit!
I just sent him a nude pic. That's all.
And I had to go back out.
I just know, like, just with, I mean, the fear that we dealt with on the ship of not knowing, are we going to deal with chemical warfare? Are we going to have a small boat attack or what? I mean, nothing happened, thank God, but you don't know that when you're sailing into the Gulf, right? And like a couple months into the deployment, I remember one night I got so exhausted and so overwhelmed, I started crying, and my lead petty officer looked me in the eye and he was like, get out of the shop, go to your rack, like, don't stop, don't look at anybody, don't make eye contact, don't talk to anyone, just go straight to your rack, just sleep this off. And that was like the most help that I got at that time. But it sounds like even that was more than what the Army and the Marines get.
Yeah. So real quick, just to circle back, because I said I was going to, Michael, the first time I ever heard of PTSD by proxy, and the way that it was presented to me, and the part that a lot of people don't recognize is first time I heard about PTSD by proxy was actually from my kids' therapist.
Okay.
Your kids or veterans' kids, anybody that has PTSD, their kids can actually suffer a form of PTSD based off of their parents' PTSD, and it's called PTSD by proxy.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what you were saying as far as you weren't actually in the combat situation.
Yeah.
But
like I've never heard that term before, but like that's exactly what I have. Yeah.
Yeah, and or you've been around others who suffer from their own form of PTSD, and it basically you kind of take on some of that yourself as far as
you necessarily didn't feed off of it, your mind did.
Yeah.
You're not really knowing it, your mind was taking in all the freaking actions that was going on.
And I've spent the last 20 years, because I'm a non-combat veteran, I've spent that whole time thinking like I'm an embarrassment to the military, to other veterans. Like I'm not brave enough, I'm not strong enough, I never should have joined to begin with. Like I have beat myself up over this so many different ways.
We only would have picked on you if you were any kind of pogue in the Marine Corps.
All right, gentlemen.
I mean, I did my job and I was good at my job, and I liked being in the Navy. I liked everybody that I worked with. Like,
all right, gentlemen.
Once we went to war, I was like, "What the fuck is this?"
So this being the Smoking and Joking show, not that PTSD is a laughable subject as far as it goes, but this being the Smoking and Joking show, and us being military, we have dark senses of humor, and we laugh at things that most people generally would say, "Well, you can't laugh at that bullshit. It's funny."
I just did.
The theme being PTSD. Do any of y'all have any funny PTSD stories?
One kind of funny, and it wasn't me directly. Okay. When I got hit in Ramadi in 04, I wasn't going to tell a damn soul at home. And I didn't realize till a couple weeks later, went to another base, I could make a phone call, that they called my mama when I got hit. And she told me about it later. I'm not sure what they said to her, but what my mama heard was, your baby got shot in the head, but don't worry, we put a Band-Aid on it, gave him his rifle back, and sent back out there. And
so
yes, so my mama was ready to walk her ass across the ocean to come and whoop somebody's ass for shooting her baby in the head.
So with that, aside from that story, when I got hit, so I got hit with a hand grenade. Now, when I made it to Germany, I hadn't made it to Germany yet. When I made it to Cass, we're back at fuck, who was it? It wasn't Bogman. But when I made it back to the aid station, so they could start working on me and everything, immediately because I wasn't out of it. I was high as all can be because they hit me with two different types of freaking good old. They gave me a lollipop and then they gave me an injection, and I was fucking feeling great. And my soldiers, when they first did it,
you could probably feel Jimmy's other leg at the time.
Here she goes. They had me on a litter, and so they were doing what we always train to do, right? They were supposed to take me back down this hill. And I looked at them, and I said, "You motherfuckers, if I have to get up off this litter and walk down this hill, you're going to regret it." And then, so at that time, that's right after, like, probably not even a second, that lollipop kicked in. One of my other soldiers, he was like, "Sorry, where you going?" It's like, I straight up looked at him and said, "I'm going to Disneyland."
Nice.
And at that time, they put me in the Skedco because they lifted me up, because that was pretty much the only way to get down, because it was nighttime. And like, I'm gonna tell you, of course, being in the Marine Corps and the Army, they sucked that day when they were freaking pulling me up, because It would have been one of those funniest home videos. I was on the bottom of the freaking Blackhawk going up in the Skegco. They didn't use a tagline for the Skegco. So you know what I was doing? Round and round and round. I hit the mountainside a couple times, and when I came up, I freaking was like, my top half of my body was belly under the helicopter, and I managed to help them somehow get me straight and pull me in. And then they slapped this freaking oxygen mask on me. I couldn't breathe. This fat ass freaking, I think it was a specialist or whatever, sat on my foot, the foot that was fucking hurt. And I'm looking at him, and he's sitting on, next thing you know, my oxygen tube is kinked. So I'm not getting any air now. I'm like, he's looking, I'm pointing, I'm like, so finally he gets the message. I'm like, I seen him in the aid station. I'm like, yeah, you sitting dead on my foot. That hurt. And the short and the end of that story, when I was in the aid station, the nurses and stuff that was up in there, they had, did all their scrubs, cleaned me up and everything. My soldier, he was with me. He had a piece of shrapnel that hit his was injured from his femoral and hit his appendix, so they had to go to immediate surgery for him. I told them, look, I want they had me on one side of the room. Like, no, I want to be over there next to him. Like, what? That's my soldier. I want to be right over there next to him. And no meds whatsoever. I'm sitting here just watching everybody, coming and going, coming in, going out to surgery. And I can hear the nurse. It's like, he must have been a Marine because he hasn't taken any medication yet. I was like, I looked at it, I was like, you're right.
Theo said he knew a guy who would wait till he went to sleep to slap his wife's butt. She would disrespect him all day long, and he would say his PTSD would manifest itself by slapping ass.
Slapping the shit out.
Which reminds me, I don't hardly ever remember dreams, and I don't remember fully what it was, but when Beth and I were just dating, she had left Walter Reed to come back to her house here in that she had here in North Carolina for a bit, and I decided I was going to surprise her, and I drove down for the weekend, and we were cuddling, and I fell asleep with like my head basically on her chest. And the only thing I remember from the dream, and it's partially at this point just because we've told the story so many times, is I was dreaming that Beth and I were sitting in a park somewhere on like a picnic table. And I mean, this isn't necessarily PTSD as far as it goes, but I kind of blamed it on that. And I'm not allergic, but I'm hypersensitive to bees, so I don't like break out in hives or get to the point where I can't breathe, but I'll swell up more than average as far as it goes. Well, in my dream, this bee kept flying in my face as we were talking, and I kept swatting at it.
You were slapping her the whole time.
I woke up and realized I'd been smacking her in the face 4 or 5 times, and I just looked at her and was like, it was a bee, and passed back out. I have the ability to wake up, see something or whatever as far as it goes, and then just go right back to sleep. So I woke up, realized I'd been hitting her, and I was just like, it was a bee. And of course, she didn't know what I was dreaming about or what I was talking about. So to her, it was just like, a bee? What the fuck are you talking about? So, yeah. Going to the comments, don't have a whole lot of comments to catch up on as far as it goes, but Doc On, thanks for watching, joining us. Theo's trying to get you in so you can join us. Patricia Campbell and Tesha, seeing you out there making a couple comments here and there. Thanks for watching. Love you guys.
Hey, Tor, I know you can hear me. I set a record. I think this is the longest I've been on the show yet. I haven't done nothing to get in trouble.
Well, Beth and I are first.
Yeah, you haven't eaten any dicks yet.
Do you want the green weenie?
Beth and I are first apartment I had was in Chesterfield, Virginia, and we were maybe 2 miles from this rinky-dink little Chesterfield airport or whatever. And I still to this day don't know exactly what it was.
I'm gonna get up and see what these kids are doing here.
Plane may have crashed over at that airport super early one morning, and it made a loud noise and it shook. Even though we were like 2 miles away, it shook our apartment or the townhouse that we were living in. I jumped about 3 foot, like I'm laying in bed.
Did Dad already take off?
I jumped about 3 foot, went over, came down on the floor, and came up reaching for a rifle, looking out the window, trying to figure out, where the fuck is mine? And I think I wiped everything, lamp, alarm clock, ashtray, everything came off my nightstand because I just kept swiping my hand while looking out the window trying to figure out what the fuck that was. But it turns out it was either an extremely close thunderclap or a plane had crashed or whatever, as far as that goes. But Beth said that she had woke up maybe 2 minutes before it actually happened. And when it happened, she jumped, realized I was almost levitating in the air over, and then landed on the floor. And she's like, I thought you were going to start, barking out commands and issuing orders and everything else as far as that goes. Well, damn.
Do a commercial insert real quick, Sergeant King.
Oh, yep. So thank you everybody for joining us on the Smoking and Joking Show. It's brought to you by Artias for all your business needs. Go to YESRTS.com for all your fitness and health needs. Reach out to Anthony Chapontier at acmjfitness@gmail.com. He will help you get right. And for all your beauty essentials, reach out to our girl Ralphine over on TikTok at Their Beauty Essentials. You ask Lanny all about it. He's a Prime subscriber and loves all her products, but she'll make you beautiful. And then, of course, come join us on Crown Eater's Wife 1775, where we believe in healing through laughter and arts. Our entire goal is to make you spit your coffee out at least once a day. One of those dark places we have a tendency to go to. So, we make it our goal to keep people laughing, and I forgot where I was going with that, but yeah, join us on Crown Eater's Wife 1775. Sorry, I'm brain farting today.
Yeah. I just want to say, I don't even know, but I think I joined Crayon Eater's Wife like just within the last month. And this is the first time that I have opened up about anything with other veterans. Like, your group is just fucking, it's spectacular. Like,
thank you.
I feel like I fit in. I feel like I belong. I don't feel like I'm judged.
That means the world to me, because Beth and I, to keep the story short, Beth and I had realized that there had been a lot of areas where it seemed like, whether it be through different organizations or different pages or all of the above as far as that goes, that there was a lot of areas that the veteran community was kind of becoming toxic. And I don't like that word a whole lot, but that's the only one I can think of.
Right.
Basically, when it came to simple things like, we as vets were supposed to look out for each other, but veterans and or caregivers, you'd see something about, I just got this or whatever as far as it goes. And then when you ask them about it, it was like they were trying to keep those resources close to the vest and not share and not tell anybody and whatnot. And we were kind of ready to walk away from a lot of the veteran community, not because we don't support vets, but we just didn't support that attitude. And when we started the page up as a joke, 35 days later, we had over 1,000 members and realized we needed to do something with it. So we've tried to build it up into a community where, we'll shit talk to each other like veterans do, but at the end of the day, we're there for you. You know, you need something, reach out to me, reach out to Beth, reach out to any of my admin. You know, you need someone to talk to, I'm here. You know, you are struggling with something, reach out to us. If we know of resources, we'll share them with you. That's one of the reasons why we started our show all tell all Tuesdays, was so that people have a chance to share those resources, get them out there, let people know about them, so that if it's a resource that you could use, hit them up.
So I appreciate everything y'all are doing. I have been
Y'all better not make them noise
by
when you go up there and go to
myself
bed.
this whole time, and it fucking sucks. It's so much better to be part of a group.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I've noticed a lot getting back into Mississippi. Veterans with any kind of like experiences are almost not existent around me. That I've got, I grew up talking to a lot of World War II vets, and I've still got several Vietnam vets I can talk to about things, but our experiences are so vastly different that it just doesn't feel right. There are few veterans around my age in the area that I live in. So I'm glad that I have.
I don't even know. I don't ever leave my apartment, so I don't know anybody in my area, veteran or civilian.
I understand it.
Well,
that can be like living where I live, because there's not people way out here. They got to pump in the sunshine.
Yeah, well, that's what we try and do is even if we're not physically near you, we want you to know that we're there for you as far as it goes, and we try and show that, and that's one of the reasons why we're always going to be in Crown Eater's Wife. We're always going to have that military humor as far as it goes. And when we first started the page, we'd start inviting people, and they'd be like, "Well, I'm not a Marine." We don't care.
Who cares?
It's open to all branches, of the service. It's open to all first responders, caregivers, and like when you go to join, there's 3 questions: are you a military or veteran? Are you a first responder? And are you a caretaker or supporter? And there's unfortunately so many people that miss that supporter word on there. Even for those who aren't a first responder or aren't military, we welcome them in as well, as long as they support veterans or first responders and caregivers, because we want them to see how we interact with each other and how we try to have each other's back, how we try to make each other laugh, how we try and support each other in the best way that we can as far as it goes, so that they might start to understand us a little bit more and be able to support us in a better manner as far as it goes. So that's why, we keep it a private group.
Hey, does mom have screen time on your tablet?
If I have civilian friends, though,
you're not going to stay on that tablet all night.
Benefit from
you got it?
Like, can I invite them to join? Or
yeah, as long as they're the way I generally say, as long as they're a diehard supporter of the military and first responders, yeah, they're welcome. Cool. They don't have to be either of those two, as long as they support us and understand that, we're there to show each other support. And the way that we support each other is by making each other laugh and bringing back that camaraderie that we had when we were sitting around the barracks, or as the Smoking and Joking show would say, as we were sitting around a fire pit or smoke pit, smoking and joking. Those are the times that most veterans miss. Is that camaraderie and that esprit de corps, whatever you want term you want to give it. That's what most of us miss, and that's what we try and bring back to our community, is that, hey, it's okay to laugh at this stuff, because that's what we do.
Yeah, even though I have PTSD, I never had more fun in my life than when I was on deployment.
Yep.
All the shit we would get into.
Most definitely. Now we did so much stuff. We had the MPs at the Pogues barracks, because from our barracks, I remember this because I was the one who brought the smoke grenade back to the barracks. I made it back to the field with it. we went up to the laundry room on the third floor, not our floor. We went up to the next floor up, and we decided, we're gonna go ahead and get rid of this smoke grenade. So we opened up the laundry room door. We looked, made sure it was clear. Pulled it. It was a red smoke grenade too. Pulled the pin and threw it out the window, and went back down to our floor. And no shit, not long afterward, you seen lights and MPs are coming. You want to know who was up on that floor, who was in that line. Nobody knew. Nobody knew, but somebody knew.
Yeah.
But
We did so much stuff. It was just to mess with the pogues too.
looking at the comments here, Doc Hahn said Lance said that the Nam and his experience is not the same, but he doesn't see that. And Lance not trying to argue the point against you as far as that goes, but I would agree with Doc because I've told, like, anytime I meet a Vietnam vet, as soon as I find out they were in Vietnam, first thing I do is tell them welcome home. Yeah, I don't even I don't even go to the thank you for your service or whatever as far as it goes. I tell them welcome home because they didn't get that, and we did.
74
as most likely when it boils down to it, I tell everybody that the Vietnam vets they came home, they got shit on. We came home and I was asked to be the Grand Marshal for my hometown Thanksgiving Day parade. First time I went home on leave. So, but I didn't do anything different than the Vietnam vets. I went over, I did my job, and yes, I got hit, but I came home. And they did the same thing. They seen a lot of the same stuff that we seen, and even if their experience wasn't the exact same,
I've always felt like they had it way worse than I had it.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe they had it way worse.
Yeah, because with some of them, if you had to compare gender wise, they're fucking men, and I'm a little girl.
So I have a friend. His name is Roman, and he was the no shit tunnel rat, tunnel rat, and some of he's from Guam, so he's a little short guy, and you listen to the stories, and then he used to be the chief of the fire department, the volunteer fire department where I'm at. His name is Don. This man, very quiet, observant, and he was a special forces and a ranger at this some of the stories that he would tell you, it was like, holy wow, they had it worse.
Yeah. Like you said, anyone getting shot at, it's all the same. I almost said shot at. And I hope nobody no one's shitting on me.
One time on my ship.
On your chest.
Lanny, I gotta ask, when you say short, how short we're talking, because I'm 5'7" on my right foot and about 3'2" on my left. So
so he's about 5. He's probably about 5 even.
Oh, wow.
He's a little. I'm gonna have to take a picture with him. I wish I had a way to, because right now he's dealing with his wife. She's very ill, and you can see it's taking a toll on him. But if I had a way to get him on here when we're on, because the time frame and where he's located, he stays in a different neighborhood, it'd be hard to do. You'd love to listen to this guy.
All right.
Either one of them, Don or freaking Roman.
I want you guys to stay on once we drop off of being live for brief after actions and whatnot as far as it goes. But real quick, just out there one more time, since we've only got about 2 minutes left. For all your business needs, if you're looking to sell your services to the government or looking to build your business, reach out to Artias at yesrts.com. They also have their Vets 365 program, which is fucking amazing for your service disabled veterans. That's vets365.org. And they'll basically do all the same stuff that Artias is doing for those free of charge. They're the ones helping us get our 501c3
3
for Crowning's Wife 1775. They've helped us build our website, and they're absolutely amazing and rock stars. For all your health and fitness needs, reach out to Anthony Chapontier at acmjfitness@gmail.com. He will help you get right, get healthy, get fit, answer any questions that you've got in that realm. And for all your beauty needs and, wanting to get as pretty as me, reach out to our girl Ralphine over on TikTok shop, Gary Beauty Essentials. She will get you right with all your beauty needs. Thank you guys for watching the show tonight. Lance, Lanny, Michael, love having you guys on. Thank you for joining us and talking about the different forms of PTSD and stuff. This is definitely a subject we'll have to bring up again at a later point and get even more in depth into it and see about bringing you guys back on for that as well. But for tonight, this is Smoking Joker Show at Smoke Pit. Thank you. We love you. And good night.